Eye Opener Productions presents Magical Kemet Revisited, Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, from 1:30 p.m. till 7 p.m. In honor of our previous Magical Kemet event 14 years ago, we once again bring you Master Teacher M. Fundishi, J. Hootie Mess, and Professor Kaba Kamene.
In ancient Kemet, they had showed that that's not a star there. I know it's a nebula. And a nebula gives birth to stars. And so Sirius A comes from that nebula. And then the ancient Kemet-u said, we also come from that nebula. That birthed our star. So this gets really deep. So we're going to, I'm telling people, bring some boots, because it's going to get real deep. We're going in real deep.
In calling, so you are now going to understand that it is time now to move back and get back onto the path of Ma'at. And on the path of Ma'at is where you are on your road to your destiny and what you were called for. And the longer that you go on this road, as you become an elder and you get more mature and you're moving through, your journey becomes clearer.
Make sure you get your tickets in advance for $30. Tickets will be sold at the door for $40. For tickets, scan this code or go to magicalkemet.eventbrite.com. We will be at the Long Island University, Brooklyn campus, Health Science Building. Enter at the gate on Flatbush Extension between DeKalb and Willoughby.
Hey, this is King Simon. Remember, make sure you go to my website, kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com, or Linktree at King Simon the Numerovator. Get all 4 of my books, and of course, that's the Numerovation for mental stability. Numbers are simple, people are complicated. Numbers are simple, children's health is important, and no promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. Make sure you get them now on all my links. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. Go now. Greetings to one and all. I hope everyone can hear me out there all over the world, all 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. I am your curator of and your minister of Numerovation. I hope everybody is well out there. Happy new spring season, new year. Some may call it the new year. Some people call it the spring season. Whatever it is, it's about bringing things anew. And want to say happy birthday to one of my former boss, Spike Lee. Spike Lee was one of my former boss back in the day, back in the 90s. Today is his born day, so enough respect to him, one of the great directors from out of New York City. And he was also, I believe, he was also born in the hospital that my grandmother used to be a midwife at in Brooklyn. So big up to Spike Lee. I don't know if my grandmother delivered him or not, but my grandmother was one out of a few, very few at that time, was practicing midwifery in the hospitals of New York. So my grandmother was right there during those times, working out of Cumberland Hospital. She worked out of Jewish Hospital. She worked out of St. Mary's Hospital. And I believe I know Spike Lee, I heard Spike Lee was born in one of those hospitals. So happy birthday to my former boss, Spike Lee. And also, big up to all of those. And also today is also the birthday of Sting, the wrestler from back in the day. Those who know who Sting was from back in the day, one of the great wrestlers of his time. And the number 20, as many people that have been on my channel or know my channel well, 20 is the number of awakening. And I consider, from my perspective, 20 to be one of the master number potentials, because anything that zero follows, it adds higher potential. So enough respect. And please, family, please like, subscribe, share. Want to thank everybody coming in. I'm not looking at the chat at this time, but big up to people that are in the chat today. Big up. Fele, what's up, Fele? How you doing? Brother King Lemuel, he in the building. Divine Goddess is in the building. And Poets is in the building. Poetess is in the building. So it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And today's lesson is definitely structured around neighbors. So today's lesson on the ministry of numerovation. Remember the word numerovation, those that are new to my channel. Numerovation means motivating you with your numbers. And I learn from different perspectives all the time. I study different perspectives. Even if I don't understand it at that particular time, I am still always open to understand the infinite knowledge of numbers and their application. And on that note, I want to shout out or spread some numerovational love to A.A. Rashid that did a wonderful job on Brother Rich's show last night. I wasn't able to watch it live because I was doing a show with Mama Ella. But A.A. Rashid is a person that allows people to stretch their thoughts and stretch their mind. And I called him right after I watched it about the app that he put up there about looking at pi and breaking down pi in relation to numbers. Very interesting. I even called Brother Rich, and me and Brother Rich and I believe it was very interesting, still a little edgy. And I could tell he's still learning it himself. But he, because he went to an app and he Googled it up and put it up. But I told him, and he said that. He said he's always learning and he's always studying. But it's always good to have people that is ready to stretch your thought. And AA is born on the 13th. And the 13 number is a number of power and dominance, but it's also connected to creative and expansive mental abilities. Because of the 1, which is the creative aspect, the 3, which is the expansive aspect, which adds up to the 4, which is the mental aspect. People like A.A. Rashid and Dr. Blair, and I really put both of them in that same lineage because A.A. comes from that lineage of the Dr. Blair, the Dr. Valentines, and all the rest of us, all the rest of the brothers and sisters that's been doing it, the Jewel Fulcrums. Even while he was in prison for a certain amount of years, I believe 9 to 10 years, I knew his mother. His mother was a very beautiful energy, and big up to his great mom who has transitioned some years ago. But When you're born under that 13 frequency, because 13 can be very deep thinkers. Dr. Blair was born on the 13th also, February 13th. And AA is born November the 13th from the Scorpion perspective, and Blair was born on the Aquarius perspective. But if you look at their numbers and you see the similarity, although AA is born 11/13, and I'm not going to deal with the year, I'm dealing with the alignment number or the first pinnacle in certain perspective and aspects of numerology. It adds up to 11 plus 13 adds up to 24, which is a 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. Delbert Blair, born February 13, 2 plus 13 equals 15, which is a 6. So both of them have similar alignment numbers, similar pinnacles that lead to the single digit, but always like A. And I like that AA said that you got to look at not just breaking it down to the single. That's why I always talk about compound numbers, composite numbers, angel numbers if I have to. You have to look at things from a holistic perspective. And that was what I got from last night's presentation by A.A. Rashid, the Kabbalah God himself. And again, him and Dr. Blair have certain frequencies when it comes to the alignment of being in a line with learning, the constant need to learn and study and research, because 6, the single digit number 6, is connected to education. And that's just one word, not just beauty and truth and justice and harmony and balance. It is connected to education. So when anytime you find that 6 might show up in your chart, 6 might show up because, again, I do this to motivate you, to numerovate you, so you can be the best you can be while you're in this realm. Wherever you go with it, if you want to go study with AA, because he has students that he has. Study with various people to get a well-rounded education, because his livocation, my livocation, is not deducation. It's actually allowing you to wake up to who you really are if you're willing to open up to it. And those that are new to my channel, this is the ministry of numerovation. It's not a religious anything. I'm not no leader of anything. I'm not no cult leader and all that kind of stuff. I am using the metaphysical science, one aspect of the metaphysical science, to keep you motivated while you're in this realm. So please take the time out right now to share, like, subscribe with friends and family, or family and friends, family first, that are on a spiritual journey. Do not share it with people that might be still in their religion. If they're not ready for it, do not do it, because that will make them even more angrier that you will even think about sharing what they have been taught to be an evil thing, or they've taught that numbers or using astrology or cardology and all of that is something of the devil. And that is further from the truth. And like I always say, remember, that's why I have the word intentions on my board, because not only does the people of God understands intention, but also the people of the devil understands intention. And the only reason I'm saying that is just to put it in a certain perspective. So it's very important that you all take the time out and learn more about these metaphysical science. The word metaphysical just means beyond the physical. It just means beyond the physical. That's all. Some people might call it spiritual, whatever it is, energy, whatever it is. So I am happy to be here today. And this word neighbor, I have 2 meanings for the word neighbor, as you can see on the board right here. The first meaning is a person living near or next door to the speaker or person. Number 2, any person in need of one's help or kindness. They have actually like 3 different meanings, but when I looked at the other meaning, it basically was the same as the first one that I just gave you. But that meaning says a person or place in relation to others near or next to. Okay? But I'm going to come from a different angle, if I am allowed to, at this moment. I'm going to come from a different angle because today's lesson is your past and your future are your neighbors. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Like a good neighbor, energetic state of the now is there, because it's really about, while you're living in the present, while you're living in the now, recognize that your 2 learning and lesson given frequencies or lesson given energies around you is the future, is your past and your future. You learn from your past as you're preparing for the future while you're in the now. And every one of us, let me say this, every one of us is a past, present, and future. Every one of us are a part of the past, present, and future. I remember learning that back in the day in FOI class. But it's also part of science, biology, and all of that. And because your past represents the blood that you have from your ancestors and from your mother and your mother and father and your father and mother and father on that side, your mother, father on that side, your great grandparents, about 400, 500 years of blood streaming through your veins represents your past. Your presence is definitely you, the person, the body itself. And your future or possible future is the ovum in woman and the sperm in man that can create this possible future. So past, present, and future, we are constantly living in the past, present, and future. The bloodline, ourself, and the possibilities of making children or bringing something to fruition, or those that have already done it. So we've been this way for eons, a walking past, present, and future. So like a good neighbor, the third meaning of the word neighbor is a person or place in relation to others near or next to. Again, I'm going to do this is a spiritual perspective, a numerovational perspective. And of course, I got the numbers behind me on the wall, which I will show. But I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with the lessons also. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth with the lessons because the lessons are very important. So, first of all, a spiritual and physical perspective. King Simon's Notes is in the building right now, of the quote, "Your past and your future are your neighbors." Now, this was inspired by a comedian, the young comedian. He's born March the 16th, which makes a lot of sense because he's a thinker. And I like how he teaches. Josh Johnson. Big up to Josh Johnson. I might send a clip to his IG or a DM, but he's becoming very successful. And he just celebrated a birthday. And right now he's in his reputation cycle, about to do a world tour. He's doing a United States tour first, and then he's going to hit outside the United States. But I mean, he had to return recently. He had to return. And I believe it happened before his birthday. Yeah, because his birthday was, I think he had to return 900 tickets because people were selling his tickets. So I believe in his critical cycle, right before his birthday, he had to return tickets. And I'm glad he probably did. And he did it on his birthday. He actually returned on his birthday. So that's by him doing that. Let me give y'all a little numerovational understanding. By him returning that amount of tickets, I think it's 900 tickets because people were scalping his tickets and doing all kinds of stuff. And he wants to lead with integrity. That part. So he returns 900 tickets right in his reputation cycle, because if he would not have done that, reputation could either go down plummeting or it can go up. So what he just did is boost his reputation by showing his integrity as a young man at 30 something years of age. That was good. And that made me respect him even more, although I don't know him. Made me respect him even more to be integrity. Because you got some Pisces assholes. You got some, every zodiac sign has an asshole. Excuse my language. Every zodiac sign has an asshole. Every number has an asshole or a whole ass. Every one of them. So for him being born on March the 16th, and what is interesting, when you add March plus 16, he just celebrated a birthday, plus 2025, he is in, which is good, he is in a 1 personal year or a 10 personal year cycle, depending on how you add it up. 2 plus 0 plus 4 plus 4, because when you add the month plus the day plus the year, it adds up to 2044, and 2 plus 0 plus 4 plus 4 equals 10. He is in a Wheel of Fortune cycle right now. That young man, Josh Johnson, the comedian. And when I first seen him, let me say this, let me be fully transparent. When he first seen him, I thought he was a girl, just dressed up in boys' clothes. Until I heard his voice, I'm like, what the hell? Okay. Very pretty boy, but he's a man. He's a real man. He's not calling himself binary. He's not doing all of that. But he's a real man. But he has that he has a look that at first glance at him is like, okay. And then especially with his long locks and everything, you didn't know who he was. But then when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, he got a real deep, penetrable radio voice. I'm like, okay, this brother here, you real deal. Then I went and Googled him to make sure. I had to Google him to make sure that this ain't no girl trying to act like a boy. I had to. I'm sorry. But if Josh is watching it, and he probably gets it, he probably gets that a lot because he's a very handsome young man, and sometimes he was raised during that era of the long-haired child, and sometimes I've made mistakes on the street with children that look like him, either his complexion or darker or lighter. I always say, yeah, how's your daughter doing? Especially if the mother loves to braid their hair and braid the child's hair, braid the boy's hair. You can't distinguish between the two because sometimes they're so pretty, you're thinking like, hey, there he is. Sometimes they can be beautiful children. So he's a very handsome brother. Enough respect to him. And I'm glad, I like that he delivers educational content and he makes you think. He stretches your thoughts because he is born under the 16, and 16 in my book, Numerovational for Mental Stability, is a mental number. So enough respect to his family. He was raised with his mom and his dad. He's raised with his grandmother and his grand. So he has a very solid family, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Unlike me, my father got kicked out. You know what I'm saying? So there's no judgment, all right? There's no judgment. But I just want to let people, but he's the one that inspired me to do this because he spoke about neighbors. And when he had moved from his respective place that he was living to another place, I believe in Chicago or something like that, a neighbor treated him so good. Respect. I want to know if he was all right. He, checking on him. One of his last broadcasts he put out, and I was like, and I said that, wow. And he spoke about neighbors. But then my mind started working and said, from an energetic level, your past, because you can learn from it, and your future, because you're building it, are my neighbors. And sometimes the trauma of your past, if you hold on to that neighbor with that same trauma instead of exercising it out or you're doing some type of exorcism, getting it out of you, then your future can become problematic if you're holding on to negative neighbors, which could be the past. Because there's a lot of people out there, and you know, and I know, that still holds on to the past, and that has held them back. And as certain parts of my life, I had to, like, you know what? I'm not even going to hold on to that madness. I'm not doing that. I had to let go of being tortured by my cousins on my mother's side and my father's side. Not molested, but tortured. When I say tortured, it was not molested. It wasn't sexual acts or nothing. But it was a torture because I did something that they did not like. Whether I ate their food or played or messed up their toys or did something in their room that they didn't like, me being a young child, being inquisitive, you might be playing with something and break something all of a sudden. Yo, my boy cousins will whoop my ass, tie me up, throw me around like I was a ball from each other, tie me up like it was like I was in a mental facility and throw me around. And that at my age was torturous, especially at the age of 6. And because we moved away from there around 8. But my mother didn't know that. But my mother did used to scream and yell at my boy cousins all the time. So your past, if you hold on to that stuff, and don't let it go so you can have a better future, that would be beneficial. And that's why this lesson today is so important to those that hold on to negative aspects of their past. Like I've always said, I could have removed myself from this realm 3 times. 8 years old was the youngest of it. In my 30s was the oldest of it. And that's when I said, nah, I'm not supposed to do that. Before I wrote any books, before I even delved deeply into numbers, because I've been into numbers since I was 14. So now that I caught my past and recognized my past, I'm very much still on the journey of healing from my past. So when I state that your past and your future are your neighbors, let's go to the lesson. Let's go to the lesson, because the lesson is very important. I write these things down. I take time to write. This quote, when I put this quote inside the search engine, this is what it says. This quote suggests that the past and the future are always close to us, influencing our present, which is our now. Just like neighbors, they coexist, interact, and affect our journey in life. Understanding their role helps us navigate life with wisdom, balance, and awareness. I want y'all to think about that. This is just me putting in an online search of this quote, because I usually look to find out where it comes from. Where it comes from. This quote suggests that the past and the future are always close to us, influencing our present. Just, and just like neighbors, again, neighbors could be positive, neighbors could be negative, neighbors could be reckless, neighbors could be noisy, neighbors could be all of that. Excuse me. And just like neighbors, they coexist, interact, and affect our journey in life. Understanding their roles help us to navigate life with wisdom, balance, and awareness. Before I go on, I want to go to the board. Let's take it to the board, family. Let's take it to the board. With the words past and future, you have the number 11 for the word past, and you have the number 16, which is a number 7, 711. See 711 there. In the word future, you have 28, which is known as the divorce number, which adds up to a 10, the wheel of fortune, which add up to a number 1. But the 2 has its own distinct meaning. Always remember, the 2 has its own distinct meaning, And the number 8 has its own distinct meaning, but the compound number itself has its own distinct meaning. If you go into my book on page 73, 28 is the symbol of promise and possibility. So the word future adds up to 28, which is the symbol of promise and possibilities. Especially if you heal from whatever happened in your past, realizing it in your now and moving on to promise and possibilities of your future, which adds up to a 10, which is the wheel of fortune. So I'm not surprised that it added up to this. This is the first time I'm actually breaking down the word, and the compound meaning adds up to that symbolism. And it is also the symbol of carefully planning for the future. If you read my book on page 73 of the number 28. Carefully planning for the future. I can't make this up. I really can't make this up. So in my book, these are studies, these are research, these are pattern cycles and sequences from my perspective that I've seen in order to help motivate people to be more better. Now, oh, you know what? I forgot to share with y'all that I do have a new Cash App and a new I got PayPal, Cash App, I got Venmo. So let me scroll that at the bottom. You can do super chat. I got a new Cash App from my son. Him and I are using that Cash App. It's our business Cash App, and it's called $ inspired by team. Because I created that word team years ago, and my son took it and ran with it. So big up to him. I didn't know he had a Cash App in it. So it's a business Cash App. So yes, people can donate to that Cash App right now, definitely, and spread love the righteous way through that Cash App. Or we do have PayPal, we do have Zelle, we do have Venmo. You know, I also have Chime if you need Chime. You want to take time to get some Chime, it's all right. But right now, my Cash App is open. My Cash App is here. My son and I were splitting that and dealing with that family, keeping it in the family, of course. And, right now he's taking care of my granddaughter. He's hanging out. He's like a single parent father. He's doing his thing, man. I love, like I tell my children, they're doing better than me when it came to dealing with them as children. Because I was there chasing entertainment and doing all kind of madness, but that was me. But I'm glad that they decided to take another route other than what I did, especially being in the music business and all that. So those who only have Cash App, that is the Cash App right there if you want to spread love. My son, he's handling that. You're going to see the name Shia Allah LLC. That is my son's Cash App. We're dealing with that together, but inspired by team is what I invented years ago before they were born. And then he decided to run with it. Matter of fact, while he was born, I created that. I think it was the year he was born. It was the year he was born. I think I can't remember, but it was in 2005 when I invented the word team, and that was for my children and family to create that type of teamwork as I was getting out of the club life slowly but surely. You know what I'm saying? So getting back to the lesson, let's stay on the lesson. I'm sorry. I had to explain that. So pass, again, is the master number 11. And 11 is the number of insight. So yes, your past is supposed to bring you insight. Your past, remember the number 11, in compound numerology, the number 11 is the symbol of new beginnings, but also is the symbol of keen insight and visionary ideals. So going back into your past is what you're supposed to learn from and carry it into the future. And because it adds up to a number 16 in the Chaldean system, which is the number of planning and preparation, but it adds up to the number 7, which deals with digging deep, researching. You're supposed to research the past. You're supposed to research the past. 7 is the number of research. 1 is creative. 6 is education. 7 is research. You're supposed to be able to do that with the past. looking back. That's why we purchase books. We purchase history books. We study history books for a reason. So the word past adds up to a 16, which is a 7, which is a number of analytics, research, study, digging deep, not taking things on face value. And then in the Pythagorean, it adds up to a number 11. 11 is what I call a portal, because it's between the physical and the spiritual realm that you understand your past. You understand things that has happened from your spiritual aspect and your physical aspect from your past. If 11 is the equilibrium between the two, then the word future adds up to 31. And I'm not talking about the rap artist Future. I'm not talking about the rap artist Future. Interesting enough, the word future adds up to 31, and 31 is the number of containment and seclusion. It is the symbol of containment and seclusion, especially when used by humans, because sometimes people born on the 31 or people born on the 4 like to be secluded sometimes. And I always tell my clients that are born under these numbers, especially the 31 or the 4 or the 22nd, if you're going to go into seclusion, please go into seclusion in a positive mental way. Do not go in there negative, because it can lead to depression. Because remember, in my book, Numerovational for Mental Stability, the number 4 is one of the primary numbers of mental health. So people can be worrying about the future because they didn't understand their past and they don't understand what's going on now, and they might be worrying about their future. That's where the number 4 comes in. So you can become a worried depression. You can become depressive because you don't know where your future is leading. Although the word future in the Pythagorean adds up to 28, which is a 10, which is a 1, which is a number of leadership. But if you want to be a leader in the future, you got to have discipline with your mind, discipline with what ideals that you get, discipline with your thought patterns. And then because 3 deals with expression and expansion, 1 deals with creativity and assertiveness, before it leads to the number 4, you have to be creative in order for your future to pan out beautifully. You have to be creative. You have to be creative. You have to be willing to expand and grow and be, because of the number. Remember, the number 3, the number 1, and the number 1. The number 1, 3, and 5 are known as the youthful numbers in certain systems of numerology. Youthful numbers. So in order for you to enjoy what may come in the future, you still have to be jovial. You have to be happy. You have to be enthusiastic about the future. You have to be optimistic about the future, especially if you're healing from your past and you understand the now. The word now, the power of the now. We go to the board. Y'all know I like going to the board. I got no problems going to this board. The power of the now. Let me show you the mathematical power from my perspective of the word now. Remember, I always put the Pythagorean on top and the Chaldean on the bottom. Always remember, that's what I do. I don't know about anybody else, but that's what I do. Again, the word 16 comes up. Woo! That number 6, that number 16 keep on coming up. Remember, that's the number of preparing, planning. So even while you're in the now, you're planning to move forward in your future. And that 7 is also the number of the law of success. The law of attraction. I'm sorry. The law of attraction. And that's in the Pythagorean. The 16 adds up to the number 1. But remember, the 16 is the symbol in compound numerology, in the double number philosophy of numerology. Remember that 16 is a symbol of spiritual victory or defeat. So while you're in the now, you have to think on being victorious or you will be defeated. And that could lead to depression just because the 7 is one of the primary numbers in my mental health book that can lead to depression and worrying. Because what you're going through right now, what used to happen to me in my future, in my past. See, that's why your past can affect you now. But if you're healing, if you're working on healing and developing your past, what happened in your past while you're in the now, guess what? Your future can be bright. Your future can be very bright. It's a powerful thing. That means these two neighbors, so this is your neighbor. Beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Will you be mine? Should you be mine? I love to have a neighbor just like you. As long as you're not an asshole, I can use you too. Beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Would you be mine? Should you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hey, boys and girls, did you know the word now adds up to a number 18, which is a 9? And 9 is the highest single-digit number in the numbers chart, which is supposed to propel you to your highest level. It's supposed to help you with your highest level, but 18 is there. And 18 in compound numerology is the symbol of the material side striving to destroy the spiritual side of nature. So even in your now, you got to find balance because the spiritual and the physical are battling. So whatever you're doing in your now, if you didn't heal from your past or you're not working on your past, how can your future turn out to be any better if you didn't work on this now in the present that we're in? And sometimes we are made by what we experience in our past. There's an old saying that Malcolm X used to say. There's an old saying that Malcolm and Dr. Khalid and Minister Farrakhan and Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to say about this too. But I'll find it. It'll come back into my head. But again, even in the book, even in the now, The Power of the Now, written by Eckhart Tolle. Go get that book. That's a very good book. The Power of the Now. I know I have it somewhere over here. The Power of the Now. Go get that book and read it, because at least the power of the now will help you to understand what you went through in your past or help you to heal from your past so you can move forward on a higher vibratory level. Remember, the word future adds up to a number 28. And 28 is known as the divorce number. So in order for your future to be bright, you got to divorce yourself from negative people, negative situations, negative things that you held on to from your past. That's known as the divorce number in compound numerology. Not just relationship-wise, because remember that number is on its positive, the number or symbol of promise and possibility, but it's also telling you to carefully plan for the future. But in other systems, it's called a divorce number. And you got to be willing to divorce yourself from anybody that's trying to hold you back from growing in your future. Still trying to keep you in your past. You got friends that are like that try to keep you. Yo, man, you used to smoke with us back in the day. Yo, man, you used to drink back in the day. Yo, man, why don't you come out to the club with me back in the day? Yo, man, why don't you go sell this ass for me, girl? Why you playing? Why don't you just go rock at Magic City real quick? Go make this money, girl. Stop complaining about money if you ain't willing to make it. Do what you used to do to go make this money. Yo, some friends need to be divorced from. Some people that you used to hang with and do all kind of crazy stuff with needs to be divorced from. So that is the divorce, especially for your future to be bright, because 2 + 8 = 10. 2 deals with balance. 8 deals with balance on another level, but 8 also deals with the need to recognize who are assets in your life and who are liabilities in order for your future to be bright. In order for your future to be bright. And what I found very interesting is that the vowels, the inner aspect of the word future, added up to a number 17 and a number 11. Again, that number 11, the equilibrium between the physical and the spiritual realm comes to fruition again. 11 shows up here, 11 shows up here. Why that is interesting? Because in order for your future to be bright in any way, you still got to recognize there is an equilibrium. You have to download certain things that you need to bring to light in order for your future to be bright. Let me say that again. It sounds like it rhymes. You got to download certain things to bring it to the light in order for your future to be bright. According to the number 11, inner aspect of the word, because remember, the vowels represents the inner urge, the soul urge of the word, of the name. So even if your vowels in your name add up to a number 11, you got to download things and bring it to the light so your future can be bright. Even if your name and the vowels in your inner aspects of your names add up to a number 11. Yo, family, I'm not new to this. I'm not new to this. And again, respect to people like A.A. Rashid that was dropping and open our mind again, because people born under his 13 frequency, he born November 13th, Dr. Blair born born February 13th. They allow you. Hold on, let me show you. This is what they show up. This is what they allow us to do. They allow us to stretch the rubber band of our thoughts. Stretch the rubber band. Dr. Blair did that all the time. You don't know nothing that Dr. Blair was saying. Sometimes Dr. Blair could be explaining certain things about some outer limits. He has a whole lecture of 250,000 years of history on a DVD, not a DVD, on a CD. Dr. Blair. But Dr. Blair was one that will help you to stretch it. This rubber band popped. Dr. Blair was one that will help you to stretch your mind to the point that it might almost pop. And even A.A. Rashid does the same thing, to the point that me and Rich had to call each other. And Rich had to say to me, like he said on air, he said, yo, I got to go rewind this and watch this again. I have to rewind it and watch it again. I even got the app that he was talking about just to check it out from the pi perspective, the 3.14 perspective. So, and I always tell people, and I told this directly to Brother Panic's face, people like him, A.A. Rashid, Dr. Africa, definitely, Dr. Blair, and Bobby Hemmett helped me to help my numerology to be better, help my numerovation to be better, because they allowed me to stretch my mind beyond this, not only physically, but also spiritually. They allowed me to stretch my mind like I'm stretching this rubber band right now until it's damn near ready to pop again. You got to be willing to stretch your mind and don't let these limited knuckle draggers keep you back. Because if the spirit realm and the physical realm don't come together and become one, you can't grow. It's like intuition and intellect. Big up to Sister Myra Mars. Where the intellect stops, the intuition will take you there. It'll take you there. It will take you there. That's why most scientists like Nikola Tesla, if you read his autobiography, sometimes when he was thinking about something and he didn't figure it out, he had to go and sleep, or he had to go do something else, or he had to go and rest, or sit down on the couch, or go sit down by the lake. Go read his autobiography. He's talking about that. And then his mind, from tapping into the intuitive or the other side of his mind, that's what brought the ideal to fruition. You got to do it. You got to do it. Got to do it. And big up to A.A. Rashid. He's unpacking it for himself, because when I called him, he said, yeah, he told me it's very easy, but he said it online. He's unpacking it and learning for himself. But something told him to go to that particular smartphone and use it. The Angio app. I got it. I made sure I got that, because I'm always intrigued about numbers. Always been intrigued about numbers. I wasn't a mathematician, but I was always intrigued by their shapes and everything since I was young. So, again, family. Woo, man. You know, and that is, again, I'm staying focused on my program. If you want to ask anything of A.A. Rashid, you go to his IG, AA Rashid Art, and go DM him. He will listen to that. So anybody ask me any question about AA Rashid and what he said and don't ask me that. That's not what I'm teaching today. I got my own class. So make sure y'all go to AA. I teach it from a perspective to keep you motivated. Wherever you go with it after that, when you want to get deep, I say, if you're going to get deep, just make sure you have balance. Because I've seen a lot of deep people go absolutely crazy to the point that they're homeless on the street. People like to be deep, and don't realize that you have to have some type of balance. You have to have something to release. I seen a whole doctor. I used to talk to him in the streets of New York. Homeless. He was deep, though. He was deep. He was deep. But he homeless. You gonna be homeless and deep? Okay. That's cute. That's cute. You know what I'm saying? One thing. So, and anytime y'all want to ask anything about Dr. Blair, y'all go to his website and go talk to Brother Tony. Tony was the right-hand man of Dr. Blair. I'll send y'all to where y'all got to go. There it is. There's his website. Tony Talk. I had Tony on my show. You can contact Tony at the 1-800 number on Dr. Blair and ask him about what you feel Dr. Blair meant, because he talked to Tony all the time about all these different things. There's the website. I'm going to send y'all. I'm going to let y'all do some work. Y'all not just going to get nothing from me. Y'all going to go do some work. So if you want to find out anything about what Dr. Blair taught, his website is still up and running right now. Right now. And he has a confidant that's there by the name of Brother Tony. Big up to Brother Tony. He was on my show on Dr. Blair's birthday on February the 13th. All right, so getting back to the lesson. I ain't even finished my lesson. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. The spiritual perspective. The past holds lesson, like I've been saying. Yes, the past holds lesson. Again, that master number 11 is a portal. Is a portal between the past and the present and the now. That 11, because remember, sometimes we download or upload things from our past experiences or something from our bloodline experiences. So the past adds up to a number 11 in one aspect of numerology, and then the past adds up to a number 16 in another aspect of numerology. And what did I say about the number 16? It is the number of spiritual victory or defeat. So it is one of those numbers that if you're not planning and preparing yourself while you're building your future, it can become problematic. It can become depressive. So the past holds lessons while the future holds possibilities. Again, the number 28 is the number of possibilities. Is the number of possibilities. Future adds up to 28. Not surprised. Y'all see, now you see how I'm writing, how I write my stuff. Spiritually, the past is not separate from us. It is a teacher. It carries memories, positive and negative karma, and soul lessons that help us evolve. Say that again. Spiritually, the past is not separate from us. It is a teacher. It carries memories, positive and negative karma. I didn't put it there, but I want to make sure karma only means cause and effect. Karma and the soul lessons that help us evolve. The future represents hope, manifestation, and divine timing, shaped by the energy we put into the present moment. Woo! Think about that. Think about that part. The future represents hope. Keep hope alive. Manifestation, Manifestation, good, positive, productive things, divine timing, shaped by the energy we put into the present moment, shaped into the energy we put into the now. Shaped by the energy that we put into this now, right now. The present now is the bridge. So family, right now is the bridge between your past and your future. Right now is the bridge. Right now is the bridge. At this moment of time that you're listening to me, and like Dr. B always says, there will not be another time like this one ever again. Even if I teach the same subject tomorrow, it won't be the same way. I won't deliver it the same way. It will be disseminated a different way, because right now is the bridge. Right now is the bridge. This present moment that we're in, this interconnection that we're doing with each other right now, it's the bridge. Like Bobby Hemmett would say, everybody all right? Everybody all right? Everybody all right? Put the number 1 in the chat if you're all right. You all right? Instagram, I'm going to cut you off. Let me see. Somebody asked, are there certain numbers who would be more successful as comedians? Number 3, Phoenix. Definitely number 3. 3 is a very powerful number. 3, 1, and 5, definitely. But 3 being the leading number of expression and expansion and growth. Most successful comedians are born under the number 3. Look at the life path of Chris Rock is a 3. Eddie Murphy is born on the 3rd. T.K. Kirkland is born on the 3rd. Dick Gregory is born on the 12th. Bill Cosby is born on the 12th. And so was George Carlin. George Carlin is born on the 3rd, on the 12th also of May. Yeah. So that person who asked that question about for comedians, yeah. Anything that deals with expression. But that 3, 1, and 5 are definitely good numbers for comedian. Even the number 9 is a good number for the comedian. Country Wayne is born on the 9th. So is Michael Collier. So is Sanford and Son, Red Fox. Yeah, definitely those 9, 3s, 1s, 5. Those are definitely comedic numbers. Oh, beautiful. So hold on 1 second. Going back to the lesson, family. Let's get back to the lesson. The present now is the bridge. We stand between the past and the future, not stuck in either of them. We stand between the present and the future. What I just did probably like 5 minutes ago is the past. Even if I talk about it again, it's the past. And now we're preparing and we're doing what we got to do to go in the future. We're not stuck in any one of them. Healing the past through forgiveness, understanding, and acceptance allows us to create a brighter future. The now is where transformation happens. This period of time in the eternal now is the transformative portion of our life when we understand it and understand it. Again, the word now, as up to the number 16, still deals with planning and preparation, but 7 is the law of attraction number. The number 18 shows up. Again, that number 18 is the symbol of the material and the spiritual side striving to destroy each other. That's why you have to find balance. And also the number 18 is the exploration of secret realms. The number 18 is also the exploration of secret realms. But it adds up to a number 9, which can take you on a higher vibratory level and journey if you want to, and see it, if you're willing to see it till its completion. Because it ain't over until we win, to tell you the truth. It ain't over until we win. Let me say that again. It ain't over until we win. Again, family, please like, subscribe, and share with at least a certain amount of friends and family that may need the lesson. And remember, please, Super Chat is working, PayPal is working, got the new Cash App from my son working, the Zelle is working, the Venmo is working. So let's make sure we support if it really means anything to these lessons, if they mean anything to you. Like and please again, like, subscribe, and share with family and friends, and thumb up the video. Because many of our family and our friends, those are considered, they might be our neighbors, but are they a positive aspect of your neighbor? Are they promoting you or allowing you to be your best self? If they're promoting you to be negative, leave them alone. Let it go. If anybody is promoting anyone to be negative, let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Get rid of them. Sometimes we got to do that. Sometimes we got to do that. In all honesty, sometimes we got to do that. And it's all right. It's all right to do that. If it's all right to do that, put the number 1 in the chat if you understand it's all right to do that. If it's all right to do that, let people go. Some people are not meant to be on a journey with you. You can love them, you can be your family members, but sometimes you got to let them go. Sometimes you got to let them go. I had to do that. I had to learn that too. And I'm still doing it. There's some people I'm going to have to let go. I'm going to have to release them because they're not right for me. Some family members, some friends, some people that might be new friends, old friends. Some of you got to let it go. Number 3, energy flows between past and future. Negative emotions from the past, regret, guilt, trauma, etc., can cloud the future. Positive choices in the present, faith, love, gratitude, etc., create a better future. The more spiritually aware we are, the more we align our past lessons and future aspirations into harmony. That word neighbor adds up to a number 51, which is a 6. And in the Chaldean system adds up to a number 30, which is a 3. When I added the S at the end of neighbor and made it neighbors, it added up to a number 52 because S in the Pythagorean is a number 1 and S in the Chaldean is a number 3. So it added up to a number 52, which is a 7, and it added up to a master number 33. So when you have understand the good neighbors, which could be your past leading into your future, I love the neighbors because these are 2 of them, 2 different words that I'm using. The neighbors adds up to master number 33. 33 is that Christ anointed, Christ consciousness energy. It's a group consciousness. That's what 33 represents. So neighbors add up to, with the S at the end, add up to 33. It creates the group consciousness for the flexible and compassionate and spiritual work that must be done, because 52 is flexible, compassionate, and spiritual work that must be done. But 52 in compound numerology has its own distinct meaning, or it might be similar to another number in the compound breakdown. 52 actually has the same meaning as the number 43. And 43 is sometimes known as a unfortunate number, but it's a symbol of revolution, upheaval, strife, failures, prevention. The number 43, because 43 and 52 has the same meaning. But the positive aspect of it, and I'm not telling you that your neighbors can cause this, but yes, neighbors can cause revolution and upheaval and strife, failure and prevention on the negative aspect. But the positive aspect of that 52 is being adaptable, being compassionate, and attracting what you want from a spiritual perspective, because 7 is a deeply insightful spiritual number, and it's called the law of attraction number, that you don't have to chase, you want to attract. So anytime you're born under that number 7, If you're born on the 7th of any month, the 16th of any month, or the 25th of any month, or you have 7 that shows up under the number 52 or 43, 7 is always a reminder to not only to analyze who and what is around you. So if you have 7 in your name, if you have 7 in your birthday, if 7 shows up anywhere, I don't care if it's 1977, 1970, all of the 70s, those were that 7 is the deeply researched number that has to delve deep into things and don't take nothing on face value. Even if you're 7 years old or 25 years old or 16 years old, don't take nothing on value when you have those 7 showing up as your path, your life path, or your inner numbers, whether it's 7, the vowels add up to a number 7, anytime 7 shows up. So this is very important if people are open to this level of being motivated with numbers, because it's all about motivating with numbers. That's what I do. This is what we're here for, to motivate you. And yes, I do birthday breakdowns and all that kind of stuff, but I decided not to do it on my channel anymore at too much more, because I think we say more words constantly than we say our birthday and our name. We'll remember our birthday and our name, but our words are spoken of more than we say our name and our birthday on a daily basis. So when I break down words like past and future and neighbor, I'm just giving you a understanding of a vibration from my perspective on how you can use every one of these vibrations to help you build yourself and help guide you and help you to grow to be better. So even when you're looking at your neighbors or you have certain neighbors around you, you have to also realize that neighbors around you, not just past and future, but neighbors from your past and going into your future are here to help you learn. That's why that 7 shows up with the neighbors, but also 6 is a number of education. So they're here to help you learn. There's something why I moved into a neighborhood and I'm next to this person or across the street from that person is a reason. They are there for a reason. You may not talk to them ever. You may just say, hi, Mr. Jones, and hi, Mr. Ifa, or hi, Mr. Baba Olutunje, whoever. You may say all of that, but you probably never really spoke and talked to that neighbor. And you'll find some very interesting things, because again, the word neighbor adds up to the number 30. And 3 deals with expression and the need to converse, the need to be jovial and happy and optimistic about what you're dealing with and how you deal with your neighbor. If it's just one. Neighbors, that's the group consciousness. Because when a multitude of neighbors come together and create this group consciousness, what do they create? They create a safety net for all the other neighbors. They create patrol for all the other neighbors. They look out for each other's house. That's the group consciousness of neighbors. That's the group consciousness. That's why it adds up to a master number 33. Because when you have good neighbors, you're supposed to heal with them, grow with them, work with them, learn with them, support their children. Back in the day, your neighbor was allowed to spank your child or just at least put one smacking on your child if you did something wrong on the street that they see, and then go and tell your mother or your father, and then your mother and your father will put a little waxing on your backside. That's what neighbors, because that's a group consciousness frequency, a group consciousness number. Neighbors. Go figure that one out. Go figure that one out. So it's not surprising to me. That's what I'm trying to say. Getting back to the lesson before we finish off. We're about to finish. Man, back in the day, boy, y'all got it easy. These young dudes and young girls got it easy nowadays. Remember, y'all got it easy. Shoot, I didn't want to get no beaten by a neighbor, man. I wanted my neighbor to give me ice cream like they used to do. But I used to get ice cream from my neighbors. Get all that. So, getting back into the lesson real quick. Let's finish this off. The more spiritually aware, positive choices in the present, faith, love, gratitude, etc., creates a better future. The more spiritually aware we are, the more we align our past lessons and future aspiration in harmony. Physical perspective that I've been bouncing around with this all through this whole live. The past shapes who we are. The past shapes who we are. Our experiences, upbringing, and past choices affect our health, mindset, and behaviors. Learning from the past helps us break negative cycles and build better habits. How many people out there have learned from their past that helped them to become a better person? Please put the number one in the chat. Please put the number one in the chat. If you have learned, by learning from your past, it has helped you to become a better person when you learned your past. I don't care if it's past history. I don't care if you learned about history from your ancestry and where your pedigree, where your family from, and how many people have learned. Because learning from the past helps us break negative cycles and build better habits. We got to remember that. We got to think about that on the level. This is not a game. You know, the future is built by today, by today's actions. The future is built by today's action. Right now, I am building a future just by what I am saying and what I am doing today. What am I doing today? I'm trying to help people because help people helps people. Heal people heals people. I'm not promoting that misery love company's mess. I'm not promoting that hurt people hurts people mess. Heal people heals people. Help people helps people. If you're already helped, I was helped by my elders. I'm willing to now help others. Help people helps people. Heal people heals people. Happiness loves company also. Happiness loves company. And sometimes people like their own company by themselves. I enjoy my company. I can be by myself and step back and kiss myself. Hey, hey you. Nah. Sometimes you got to step back and kiss yourself. Give yourself some love. Like a good neighbor, I'm always here. Like I'm a good neighbor. I'm always here. I'm always here. Like a good neighbor. And that is how y'all got to recognize this thing, man. This is how we grow. This is how we grow, family. This is how we grow. And I want all of y'all to grow. I want y'all to grow in your own way. Not just because King Simon says it, not because this person say that or that person say that. Hey, take what you need from everybody, but make sure you take the best part because the future is built by today's actions. What we eat, how we think, the work we do, the relationships we nurture today creates the quality of our future. Not everybody you're supposed to let in your house. Some people can be very disrespectful of your house, doing things you didn't even know they're doing in your house. Not everybody's supposed to be in your circle. Not every neighbor is supposed to be in your circle. So you got to know how to discern and be respectful in your judgment of who you allow in your space. Just as neighbors interact and influence each other, our past and future shape each other through our daily choices. What choices are you making? Because I know balance is the key. Balance is key. Because too much focus on the past can cause regret limitations, and stagnation if you focus too much on the past. We learn from it. All right, so what? Our families went through colonialism and slavery and all that. Do I want to stay in colonialism, stay in slavery? Am I going to get into that whole trauma porn on television because they want to tell you was 12 years of slavery, you was Kunta Kinte, you was this, you went through the maroon colonization, you went through this. Look, you learn from it. Too much focus on the past can cause regret, limitation, and stagnation. Too much worry about the future creates anxiety and stress. How many of you know people, or you might be going through it yourself, worried about the future, and you're going through a whole depression, or you know people that get a whole anxiety attack because they don't know what's going to happen. You know, the DEI and all kinds of craziness is going on out there. People getting fired. Put the number 9 in the chat if you experience this, or you know people that are experienced, they're going through anxiety levels because they're worried about the future of America, the future of what Trump is going to destroy, the future of what put the number 9 in the chat if you're hearing all of this also. I was listening to some ladies on was it Earn Your Leisure? I think it was either Earn Your Leisure or it was on Boyce Watkins' channel. And they said something about Donald Trump. And I laughed. And I wrote in the chat. They said, put 1 or 2 or 3 things that Donald Trump has helped Black people with. The one thing I put in there is that Donald Trump is helping me and Black people to start saying we're going to do for ourselves and produce and make and plan and do what we got to do for ourselves. Period. That's what Donald Trump is doing for me. That's why I had a dream about Donald Trump early this year. He came into my house. We had a good conversation. And he probably said, Simon, I want y'all to do for yourself. That's probably what he said in the dream. You know what I'm saying? But he's encouraging us to do for ourselves. Do for ourselves. Do for self. Garvey taught it. Elijah Muhammad taught it. Malcolm X taught it. Do for self. Because when your back is against the wall, that's all you can do is do for self. So that's what Trump is teaching me. I don't know what he's teaching you. I ain't worried about all these policies and craziness. I'm worried about doing for self. And then as you're doing for self, you're doing for family, you're doing for communities, you're doing for neighbors. Do for self. That's what he's teaching me. And they couldn't even rebut that. They could not even rebut that on their channel when I put that in their chat. I said, he's encouraging me to do for myself, like Marcus. I said, like Marcus and Muhammad and all of them taught us. He's encouraged us to do for ourselves. That's what he's encouraging. And I've been on that tip for a long time, since I was a child. So it's all good. So too much worry about the future creates anxiety and stress. Living in the present while respecting both past and future brings clarity, peace, and purpose. Let me say that again. Living in the present while respecting both past and future brings clarity, peace, and purpose. Number 3, unified connective perspective. This is my unified connective perspective. The past, present, and future work together. Spiritually, our past teaches us and our future calls us forward. Physically, our past choices affects us, and our present decisions shape our future. By treating them as neighbors, acknowledging their presence, but focusing on the now, we create a balanced, fulfilling life and doing what we have to do to take things to the next level. We're going to create this, but you got to make sure everything is balanced. So for me to put out a lesson like this, inspired by a comedian, again, to me, comedians are the last of the Mohicans of the spoken word and the last of the Mohicans of the free speech of this world. For me. I feel that that's what comedians are. That's why I love when Dave Chappelle just do what he wants to do. They can't cancel him. They can't push him out. They can't do nothing to him. So again, our past choices affects us and our present decision shapes our future. By treating them like neighbors, acknowledging their presence, but focusing on the now, we create a balanced, fulfilling life. Remember that commercial jingle. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Like a good neighbor, the now is right here. Like a good neighbor, the now is right here. And you're going to have to do it now. Dr. B says to now, not tomorrow, not today, to now. Like a good neighbor, the now is right here and now. My final thoughts, family, before we get on out of here. My final thoughts. I want to thank everybody that joined me for the board work. Thank everybody that joined me for the conversational work. I want to thank everybody that's supporting my channel through PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, my new Cash App, my son business Cash App. This is our business Cash App, inspired by Team. So if you are a Cash App user, I now can receive donations through that. I do have another Cash App for when people want to book a session with me. If you want to book a session with me, please take the time out and text me your full name and date of birth, 347-496-1022 before I close out with the final thoughts. And you could use the PayPal, and I'll send you all the links when you text me your email also, because I do ask you to send me email so I can also send you the details. So yeah, you want to book a session with me, text me your full name, date of birth, and email. I have 4 different sessions. 4 different sessions are 10-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. All right. So final thoughts, family. Final thoughts. Your past and future are always near you. Your past and future are always near, but you decide how to engage with them. Honor the past, build the future, and live fully in the present, the now. This balance allows you to grow, heal, and manifest your best life. Or at the very least, it allows you to do your best. That's all I strive to do, is do my best. I don't got it all together. I don't believe nobody else. I don't even think the richest man. We know that even Elon Musk doesn't have it all together. And he got billions upon billions. He don't even have it all together. That's how crazy it is. Most of us think that it's all about money, when sometimes it's just about a peace of mind and being comfortable, or being wealthy to the extent that you're just comfortable be able to move without a bunch of people just mobbing you and all that kind of stuff. I can respect that. That's what I respect about Spike Lee. Today is his born day. Spike Lee will sit in Brooklyn neighborhoods to write his next film. And yes, he's respectful when people come up to him and all that, but know that he always has security watching him. Because wherever Spike is, his security is always watching him, and he only carries 1 or 2 security. I know one of them, but I used to do security for Spike. But it's I don't ever want to be so rich that I can't move amongst the people. Wealthy is good. I'd rather be wealthy, because even when you're wealthy, you can move. Because I have been around some wealthy people in my past. I learned and watched them. The owner of WWRL was worth $75 million, according to before he transitioned. Regular guy used to ride. He used to ride his bike up and down Manhattan. Regular guy, you would never know he was worth $75 million. Suits, he just had his just jacket and he mismatched with his pants. And I've stood and talked to Chris Blackwell. And nobody comes in mobbing Chris Blackwell, the owner of Island Records, who's worth a certain amount of money too. Regular person, dressed down, looks simple. You never know. They ain't into all that bling bling and all the stuff that our people do in the melanated community. All that bling bling and trying to show off my Lamborghini and show off my Mac, my Maybach. And them niggas ain't, they rich. Them niggas are rich. They ain't wealthy. Them niggas are rich. They're not wealthy. If you got to show it off, my man, you know, I remember what's the name said this. Don King. Don King said, if you can count your money, you ain't got no money. That's what Don King said. If you can count your money, you ain't got no money. That's what Don King. It's one thing I respect about Don. I think he's born August the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Don King. If you can count your money, you ain't got no money. And real wealthy people don't flaunt their money. They don't do that. Real wealthy people, you will never know. Yeah, he was born August 20th. I was right. Real wealthy people don't have to count, show that they got this and they got a Maybach and all that kind of stuff. It's cute, but they be looking at them like, please. And that's how wealthy you want to be. At the point that you don't have to count your money, or you have assets. And big up to Earn Your Leisure and brothers and sisters that are doing it just like that. Sorry for I learned late in life because my father or my mother didn't teach us about what you call financial literacy. Although my grandmother and them was buying houses and stuff, but they never sat down and talked to their children about it. They didn't even tell, my grandmother and them didn't even tell my father and my uncles them. I think my aunt probably knew, but my father and them didn't know. My father and uncle, may my uncle rest in peace. He didn't know. My grandmother and others, they didn't teach us that. They didn't teach us. They more taught the daughters. They never taught the sons. I wonder about that. They taught the daughters. Were they angry at the past with the fathers that they had or the men that they had in their life? Why they only taught the daughters and they didn't teach the sons? I'm going to have to ask my grandmother that in the spiritual realm. Why they didn't sit us down as young boys and teach us about financial literacy, because they had it. They had my aunt had villas and stuff in Jamaica and all that kind of stuff. They had it. Her daughter knows, but did the son know? He passed on, Troy. May you rest in peace. Did the son know? I'm gonna ask that question to my ancestors. I have to ask that question. Gotta ask that question. You know, and sometimes you gotta know who is really supporting of you, and that's why I tell people, when you circulate money, always say currency is circulating back to me, and those who support me, a trillionfold. Panic used to say, say he don't give a F about this. He said, throw some Cash App in there, throw some PayPal in there. I don't do that kind of stuff. Star will tell you in a moment. Star will tell you in a moment, man. Man, don't call in if you ain't donated to the station. If you ain't donated to the place at least once or twice, you haven't donated to that man's platform. He ain't playing with you. you know. And I've got consultation from Star, and Star is a real good brother that really gives good advice. If you ever want podcast consultation and all that stuff, always consider going to people that's been doing it for a while. You know what I'm saying? People like him. He's definitely been doing. And yes, he could be very arrogant. He'll tell you he's a whole narcissist. He will tell you he's conceited. He's a whole narcissist. No children. Don't plan on having children. He just have troll babies. My brother Star. And I love him for that. Honesty. I love him for his. And a lot of people don't know behind the scene, he's a very beautiful human being. Very beautiful human being, you know, that I've gotten to know over years. So big up to Star, the great Star from Star Report. Hopefully you come on today. I'm going to check him out. Whenever he comes on, I watch him because I learn. He's a great teacher, and he gives great advice. If you catch him behind the scenes, but don't get on his nerves. Don't get on his nerves. Please don't get on his nerves. So I think I finished the lesson. I believe I finished the lesson. Yes, I finished the lessons. I did finish the lesson. This balance allows you to grow, heal, and manifest your best life, or at least it allows you to do your very best. Do your best. Dr. Africa used to say, do your best. Do your best, King. Do your best. Do your best. In this world that seems so problematic or whatever, do your best. That's all you can do. Just remember to follow us on social media at IG at IM.KingSimon, or Facebook at King Simon Production, X at King Simon Prod, TikTok at King Simon _ the Numerovator. And you could go to all my links at Linktree / Numerovation, King Simon Numerovator. All my books are available. One last thing. Big up to Jess Hilarious and Lauren LaRosa, who was able to find balance in their issue. And I wrote it in my IG about both of them being in a 6 personal year cycle. Both of them are feeling that effect. Definitely Jess is in it because her birthday is the same day as Dr. Blair, and she's in a 6 personal year cycle. Lauren LaRosa is feeling the effects of it because she is still in her 5-year cycle since November 22nd of last year, but she's feeling the effects of this 6-year cycle. And that truth needed to come out because 6 is the number of truth, justice, balance, harmony, and it needed to come out for the Breakfast Club. Enough respect to them for resolving it on the air when it could have been done behind the scenes, but it had to be resolved because and Star believes it's a promotional ploy, and he knows he used to do that himself, and that's cool. And I'm glad that it was done, and that helped. But it also showed me the cycles of what people are in at that particular time to even come out and do something like that. So enough respect to Jess and Lauren, and I think Envy and Charlemagne, all 4 of them can work together, and they will blow that show up. All of them can, because they need that foundation. And they need the balance of the 2 women and the 2 men. They need that. So big up to those people that are doing what they're doing in that realm of the Breakfast Club. All right. And family, again, Cash App. I got a new Cash App. My son just gave me a new Cash App. Cash App, $ inspired by team. Because teamwork makes the dream work. That's the PayPal, that's the Cash App, and that's the other PayPal there if you wanted to send a donation. Or you can do it by Super Chat, Super Sticker. Super Chat or Super Sticker. And you could also at least watch 30 seconds of a commercial on the channel. And they'll split pennies. And, big up to Mr. G. Mr. G also explained that too, that they'll split. They give you pennies, but it is what it is. They give you pennies and they take what they have to take, but to advertise on everybody's YouTube channel. But like I always say, Currency is circulating back to me, and those who support me are trillion fold. That's what it is. You know? So stay focused, stay strong, be great in whatever you do, even if it's a small thing, be great at it. And remember what Dr. B says: I forgive myself, my family, and others for imperfection, and I am thankful for my life. And remember what Dr. Blair gave us: please, Universal Creator, know in my heart that I love you. Please protect me and this planet on which I live now. Please open my mind, my spirit, and my soul to receive only truth in your love now. Family, beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Will you be mine? Should you be mine? Want to have a neighbor just like you? As long as you're not creating any problem, you can live next to me too. Beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Your past and your future are your neighbors. Inspired by the comedian Josh Johnson. Big up to him and whatever he's doing. He got a tour coming up. I might have to go and check him out one day. Certain comedians I want to check out. I like these new guys that are coming out intellectually and dropping it. Those who want to see the live stream for the Magical Kemet, hosted by I Open a Production. I just put I forgot. Hold on. I just put here it is. Here is, if y'all want to go, if y'all going to be in Brooklyn, New York, and y'all want to see this event, please go to this event and check it out. But if you can't, I just put it in the live. I just put it in the chat. If you want to go to get a live stream, this is not for the tickets. This is a live stream. This is the live stream, family. So if you want the live stream, please click on this link right here for the live stream in the chat if you want the live stream. If you can't make it to Brooklyn to see Magical Kemet, all right? Or you can call my brother and at 347-683-8122 and see if he has any tickets left over if you're going to be there in Brooklyn, New York, all right? Family, take care, be safe, be great. Remember, I love you because I love me. Peace and love.
Eye Opener Productions presents Magical Kemet Revisited, Sunday, March 23rd, 2025, from 1:30 p.m. till 7 p.m. In honor of our previous Magical Kemet event 14 years ago, we once again bring you Master Teacher M. Fundishi, J. Hootie Mess, and Professor Kaba Kamene.
In ancient Kemet, they had showed that that's not a star there. I know it's a nebula. And a nebula gives birth to stars. And so Sirius A comes from that nebula. And then the ancient Kemet-u said, we also come from that nebula. That birthed our star. So this gets really deep. So we're going to, I'm telling people, bring some boots because it's going to get real deep. We're going in real deep.
In calling, so you are now going to understand that it is time now to move back and get back onto the path of Ma'at. And on the path of Ma'at is where you are on your road to your destiny and what you were called for. And the longer that you go on this road, as you become an elder and you get more mature and you're moving through, your journey becomes clearer.
Make sure you get your tickets in advance for $30. Tickets will be sold at the door for $40. For tickets, scan this code or go to magicalkemet.eventbrite.com. We will be at the Long Island University, Brooklyn campus, Health Science Building. Enter at the gate on Flatbush Extension between DeKalb and Willoughby.
Today's consciousness, today's consciousness, today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? From the pristine position that we held in today's consciousness, here's a new show just for you every Tuesday called Today's Consciousness. Be there and enjoy all the great special guest stars that will be passing through on a new show called Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Today's Consciousness. Are you ready to address all the things that are going on? And how can we heal today's consciousness? Today's consciousness. Today's consciousness. Right here on KSP TV. Today's consciousness. What happened and how can we change it? Some people think that this esoteric knowledge is for the rich and powerful, when in actuality, the so-called 85% has a spark in them that if it is sparked through numerology, astrology, numerovation, whatever, it will raise them up from an 85%, maybe to a 10%, and eventually they become the 5%. Or prosperous, righteous teachers. We gotta understand that this knowledge is not just for one class of people. We gotta get out of the class